say throughout this COVID pandemic. Well, the topic is indeed very timely, and NEHU, in association with NIDM, has taken this initiative. I appreciate the organizers. I think I must. We have the experts, and we have, of course, Major General Manoj Bindal. Then we have the panel of experts: Professor Ghosh, Professor Vice, Professor O.P. Mishra, and Dr. A.C. Lindo, and of course the the coordinators, Dr. Amir Ali Khan Sahab and Professor Walia. So I congratulate the entire team for bringing NIDM and NEHU on this digital platform. And as I'm told, about 1,300 participants are there in this platform, and almost 40%, 35 to 40% female participants are there. So that gives us a message that in terms of risk mitigations, the women a great role to play, and women empowerment. We do look forward to such activities. In a lighter vein, I may share my thoughts with you that COVID-19 pandemic. It is also like an earthquake, but of course we could see it coming slowly. Earthquake, as we all know, it's a non-linear phenomenon. I'm not at all, but as a citizen, what I know a little bit from here and there, that it doesn't warn you. Suddenly it comes, and then you have to manage. So after effects, after shocks, and those disasters, we have to contain and manage and minimize the losses of life, property, and all that. So this COVID pandemic also, I think it has shaken the entire humanity in a big way. And in this backdrop, we are all assembling here. And as we all know, especially the experts, we have learned that Northeast is, that are prone, along with we have been hearing about mild shocks, or those shocks in and around Delhi at this point of time. Around these last couple of days or weeks. So I can share my thoughts with you all, that this platform, I think for 3 days, a lot of participants are there, will be greatly benefited with this earthquake risk mitigation topics, and I would like to give a special mention to the NIDM, NEHU, and these 3 days. And I think I'm here to learn from the experts rather than to say, but nevertheless, certain for the case recently is the institution I experts, my panelists, and the participants. Associated NEHU with this institute, and I think in the coming times, a lot more can be done. And the recommendations of this 3 days training program also will go a long way, if we can compile together and at least share on the digital platform itself, to all, and also the general public at large, and also through media. I think that will be a field. So once again, I extend my warmest greetings to you all, welcome you all, and I wish very nice deliberations on this virtual platform we are meeting. And I hold the view that whether you have a meeting face to face or you are meeting on virtual platforms, it's the ideas and the thoughts and expertise there being shared. Our participants will be, I think, greatly sensitized about this whole issue, and I think citizens will make it benefit a lot. So the importance of this virtual meeting is definitely very high, and I think we look forward to all these successful deliberations. And finally, I think once again, I wish you all the very best, and I will close with with my special, I will appeal to you all that take care of this your health and safety. And when directly or indirectly, we all need to fight this COVID pandemic in whatever way we can to minimize the loss of life and also to minimize its spread, in and around our, families and so where we live in, and so on. And ultimately, I think earthquake risk mitigation. It's a, it's a huge topic, and a lot of themes are some themes are covered under this particular topic. So, the very best. Stay safe, stay healthy. And Bale Saab, now over to you. Namaskar.
Thank you, sir, for titling us on some of the issues which are very, very pertinent. Now, I would like to request Dr. Amir Ali Khan Saab to take forward the program.
Okay, thank you, sir. And thank you, VC sir, for to be kind enough to inaugurate the program. So thank you so much. I will give a brief overview about the objectives of this program, why we are organizing this. This program has been conceptualized to enhance understanding concerning the nature and extent of the threats due to earthquakes and the concept and issues involved in earthquake risk mitigation and management. A little management part, but more focus is on mitigation thing. So all experts are going to talk about the mitigation thing and to describe different activities involved in earthquake risk mitigation, preparedness, and all those aspects need to be covered. And definitely we are going to have a lot of discussion on this. So to discuss and carry forward this program, we have, as I told in the beginning, an eminent panel of experts. So today we are going to have 2 sessions, and both the sessions are to be taken by the coordinators, Professor Devesh Walia sir. He's going to talk about overview of earthquake risk at national level. So this is in brief. Sir is from geology background, and he's working in NEHU as a professor, and he's at present representing Department of Environmental Studies. And second lecture will be taken by me about concepts of earthquake risk mitigation, where I'm talking about why and how earthquakes are occurring, what is the terminology associated with that, what type of hazards are associated with the earthquakes, and how earthquake can be mitigated, not in detail, but in brief everything. Then tomorrow we have 2 specialized talks on earthquake-induced damages and expected performance of the built environment by Prof. Is currently working with the Department of Civil Engineering, IIT Jammu, and he's basically from NIDM background, National Institute of Disaster Management person. He is on deputation to IIT Jammu for 1 year. So he's going to talk about earthquake-induced damages, and then we have Professor Yogendra Singh, who is currently working with the Department of Earthquake Engineering, IIT Roorkee, and he's basically a structural engineer working on structural dynamics. He has already served as the HOD of head of the Department of Earthquake Engineering Department at IIT, and he's going to talk about earthquake risk mitigation strategy and the traditional knowledge which is available at national level to mitigate the impact of earthquakes. So this is in brief about these 2 gentlemen. On last day, we have another panel of eminent experts like Professor Dr. O.P. Mishra. He's from National Center for Seismology under Ministry of Earth Sciences in Delhi. He's going to talk about seismic microresolution studies at national level and their relevance in earthquake risk mitigation. A lot of microresolution studies has already been taken up, and he's going to talk about that. And then last technical lecture will be by AC Ligdo and Professor Walia. They are going to talk about earthquake forecasting and early warning system and what is the current status at national level. So this is in brief about the program schedule. Now I take this opportunity also to introduce Executive Director, National Institute of Disaster Management, Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal Sahab. Bindal Sahab is one of the highly distinguished and eminent professional. Major General Bindal Sahab is having over 35 He was commissioned into the Corps of Army, Air Force, Air Defense in December 1985. He is an alumnus of National Defense Academy. Bindal Saab is a graduate and has attended the prestigious Higher Command course at the Army War College. Bindal Saab holds a master's degree in Defense and Strategic Studies, as well as a MPhil degree in Defense and Management Studies. Bindal Saab is having the wide experience of dealing with the disasters, particularly the earthquake. He was serving at the time of Bhuj earthquake in that region itself, and he's having the first-hand experiences of how he was involved in management of earthquake disaster after that Bhuj earthquake. In addition to that, Bindal Saab is having the wide experience of serving mountains, plains, and all deserts as well. So, in addition to that, another special aspect of Bindal Saab's experience is that he served in Northeast as well. And he was in Arunachal Pradesh, and he's having a lot of experiences to share about his management of earthquakes or preparedness and mitigation part of earthquakes in Northeastern thing. Bindal Saab has also served in United Nations in UN mission in Mozambique. He has been the Director Center for United Nations Peacekeeping in New Delhi. Also, he has served for 3 years as the Secretary of the International Association of Peacekeeping Training Centers. So with this brief introduction, I request Executive Director and National Institute of Disaster Management, Major General Manoj Kumar Bindal Saab, to give the keynote address and formally inaugurate this program. ED sir, now you can take over. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Amir Ali. First of all, heartiest welcome to all participants who have joined this 3-day training program. And heartiest congratulations to Professor S.K. Srivastava, Vice Chancellor of NEHU, and Dr. Devesh Wadia from NEHU for getting together this course with such a fine agenda and with such good speakers who will be speaking. So I congratulate the team from NIDM headed by Dr. Amir Ali and the team from Dr. Devesh Wadia for bringing together a very good program for the participants. We are all aware that why is this program important? Also very, it's something that we all should know about. Is because Northeast region, we are doing this program in Northeast region, and Northeast region is particularly very prone to earthquake. And as per statistics from 2001 to 2005, 995 earthquakes of various magnitudes, mostly minor, they struck the Northeastern region. That means nearly 200 earthquakes per year. That is the magnitude at which the Northeast region is getting active. Even though there has been no damage, appreciable damage, but the cumulative effect of such large number of shakes on the stability of the hilly slopes and the soil erosion, it has escaped scientific investigation. And there have been 2 mega earthquakes in Northeastern region. The first one was the Independence Day earthquake of 1950, which happened in Arunachal Pradesh. And the second one was 12th July 89. We just concluded 100th year, which was 8.7 magnitude earthquake in Shillong plateau itself. This shows that the Northeastern region is very prone to earthquakes. And Northeastern region also falls in the second most active alpine Himalayan seismic belt. There are a number of geological faults and thrusts which are weak spots and scattered all across the Northeastern region. The big killers are indirectly the collapse of buildings and structures, not the earthquake by itself, and induced landslides. Damage to life and communication network, flooding arising out of the bursting of the dams or blockage of waterways. These things cause crippling damage to the public utilities. People are typing no audio. Can you hear me, Dr.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So when buildings are being constructed in a haphazard and Full towns are very highly whosoever has got his mic on,
Can we mute all?
land use planning should be done in consultation with the seismic experts and geological experts. And that is an aspect which is missing in a lot of cases. Earthquake forecasting capacity is very limited, and the science is not developed to an extent that they can predict an earthquake in any area. Some earthquake warning systems, which are being put in various places, give you a few seconds warning. Like in Mexico, it gave 17 seconds of warning. But that is also one of the highest figures that we have got, otherwise it's much less. There are other issues which need to be tackled, because this is something which will come all of a sudden, and when it will come is not known. Unlike other disasters, we know about them. Floods are coming, cyclone is coming, or avalanche is going to come because of the snow accumulation, and you know any time. It's 24/7 and all 365 days. It is there. It can come anytime, anywhere, any place at any magnitude. So that's very important that we need to follow the guidelines. NDMA has issued guidelines, but I feel the guidelines for northeastern regions should be also tweaked as per the requirements of the northeast region, so that it is more applicable to them. There are many earthquake risk mitigation measures which are being undertaken or which can be undertaken, like earthquake resistance construction of new structures, selective seismic strengthening and retrofitting of existing and lifeline structures or critical infrastructures, improvement of compliance regime through appropriate regulations and enforcement, and awareness and preparedness of all stakeholders, which is very important. Then capacity development through education, training, R&D, and documentation. Documentation is an issue which is not very well being documented, and hence learning from the past is not to the extent as it should be. So there should be a proper institutionalization mechanism where all experiences and all data, all actions taken, all actions which have been successful, actions which have not been successful with reasons, should be documented so that it can be studied by researchers, it can be studied by scientists, and correct decisions are taken. Then we need to strengthen the emergency response capacities in such areas. Then state level plans, district level plans need to be updated on a regular basis. Compilation of authentic database and coordinated R&D studies. Today, everyone is on their own, every researcher is on their own, and he comes out with a study which may or may not have a link with the development being carried out. So, disaster and development needs to be interlinked, and it has to go hand in hand, for which in the planning stage itself, the scientific community, the researcher community should be brought on the table. Then we require to do microzonation and vulnerability mapping so that areas which are more vulnerable, highly vulnerable, are given that priority for whatever development or intervention that we are planning. Capacity of various stakeholders has to be increased. Training of masons and engineers, which is a very important thing, that the masons and engineers should know how to make a structure disaster resilient. And popularizing simple do's and don'ts is very important, because structural measures take time, but non-structural, which is possible to be done today by everyone, is plausible, and it saves a lot of time. So the do's and don'ts and various precautions to be taken needs to be disseminated regularly. Mass awareness campaign needs to be there, and it should reach the last man who's in the vulnerable area, so that at least life can be saved. lives can be saved, and critical property, whatever they can do it at their own to save itself, because building back better is always going to cost more. With this, I will wish this particular 3 days program a huge success, because we have already 500 plus participants, and the participants are requested to ask intelligent questions, relevant questions, and a lot of questions through the chat box, and keep themselves muted at all times. Because of the rains, there is a lot of atmospheric disturbances, and the audio will be an issue in this particular course, because this is at a time when a lot of rainfall is taking place in Northeast especially, and also in many other parts of the country. For the best interest of everyone should follow the rules as laid down by NEHU in the first slide, which I will request NEHU, Dr. Devesh Lalya, to keep showing every 30-40 minutes, so that everyone is reminded of what not to do while on the session is on. I'm looking forward to a very enlightening and fruitful 3 days program, and I'll meet you after 3 days. Thank you so much. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Anup.
Thank you, sir. So it's highly enlightening opening remarks. You have covered almost everything which is required for earthquake risk mitigation, from earthquake early warning to documentation to learning from the past earthquakes data and actions taken, disaster management plans, which are we are not covering in this. We are focusing more on this thing, but definitely, Walia Sahab, we will definitely plan a few more programs to cover different aspects of earthquake risk mitigation, including management as well. So this is the thing which, one aspect ED has covered, building back better, which is always very, very costly after an earthquake, and it's very time consuming. So if we are, so better is invest now rather than paying later. So we have to take this message of ED forward, that we have to be disaster resilient infrastructure as well as disaster resilient structures, and we have to propagate all those mitigation techniques amongst ourselves. So with this, I thank ED and IDM and Srivastava Sahab, Vice Chancellor NEHU, for sparing the time for this program, inaugurate the program. Thank you so much, sir, both the sirs, for wonderfully delivering the message, which is very loud and clear, that we have to be prepared to face earthquakes rather than wait for earthquake to happen, damage, and then we start our cycle of disaster management. So it's very sound, loud and clear that we have to start investing in earthquake risk mitigation. So Walia Sahab, can you brief